Today, we're looking into the AI cybersecurity assistant that you wish you always had. If you're working in a security operations center, you'll want this as your right-hand man. It can dig through logs, analyze vast amounts of data, highlighting any issues that you have. You can manage your whitelists, blacklists, and any unusual traffic. There's even the opportunity to add RAG to it, so it's got a complete knowledge of your network. And it can all be locally hosted, so all that information stays within your organization. Let's have a look. So, first off, we're using OpenWebUI with the pipe function all connected up. If you're not familiar with OpenWebUI, here's the interface for OpenWebUI. It's all self-hosted and part of the network stack part of the AI stack that I use hosted on my VPS. You can also host it locally on your own laptop as well. And here's the workflow in n8n. So you've got the AI agent here. Then at the moment we're using XAI's Grok for the demonstration with the test data. If you're using it in production, then you could use an OLAMA model to analyze the data. Then we've got the MCP server client node just here. We've got a calculator in case it needs it. I always add that on just in case. And you could also add RAG in here as well. Although on this particular workflow I haven't added RAG because it's a demonstration. Here's the MCP server just here. You could add a lot more to it depending on the size of your network, the amount of logs that you want to be able to access and you want to store. And all of this is running in Baserow. So here's a sample log. This was taken from Wireshark of a network, and the data was exported out of Wireshark as a CSV file and then inputted into the database. If you already have your logs somewhere else, then in the n8 you could create another n8n workflow to convert it into a CSV file and then input it into Baserow, or you could create a custom workflow for that. But for the purposes of this demonstration, we're working with a snippet of data. So what we've got here is we've got the get many logs. We've got a destination IP filter. So you can have a get, but with a filter. So you could actually build a couple of custom filters for the MCP server to make it easy for the AI to filter down and drill down into the logs. Then I've also added a whitelist, a get whitelist, so that it can grab a list of whitelisted IP addresses that are in a separate database, so the AI can know what IP addresses are within the network, what ones are safe and known about, and to assist it with being able to analyze the logs. In a real network, you would do a lot of customization to customize it exactly to the network, so then that way the AI can really drill down and flag any security vulnerabilities. As this is using an MCP server, you can keep the prompt very, very minimal. So if we go into the main agent here, as you can see, you've just got one line. That's it. In production, you may put a slightly bigger prompt there, but the MCP server makes it so you don't really need that much to tell it what to do. So it's just analysing the logs now, grabbing them from the MCP server. So there we go. I've retrieved the security logs For analysis, here's a summary of the key observations from network traffic. So there we go, it's picking up the DNS queries. It's understanding which IP addresses are doing what, ARP requests. Whoops, done a little typo there, but as you can see, the AI will just work it out. So there we go. It's now listing the internal IP addresses and the traffic that's going to them, that's going from them. So now we're going to compare them to the whitelist. Now we're going to compare the logs to the whitelist. So there we go. So it's now showing what's not on the whitelist, not on the whitelist, in the whitelist, in the whitelist, and then it's marked out the description for what each of those is. So in the whitelist here, we've got this one down as web server, and we've whitelisted Cloudflare's DNS. So now we're going to ask it, can it see any evidence of ARP poisoning? So we're going to see what it can see there. There we go. So it's not seeing any direct evidence, which is correct. Although there's a limited scope because it's only a small snippet of data. This is just using a LLM that is generally trained. If you were to have an LLM that is more security focused, then you could actually train more information into it about cybersecurity, so it could actually focus a lot more on different vulnerabilities. You could even give it access to, via RAG, you can actually give it access to lots of different network security vulnerabilities, so it can compare it to the traffic that it's seeing. So in the real world, it's actually continuously analysing what's in your logs. So it's picked up on these two IP addresses here not being in the whitelist, and it's saying that they should be monitored for suspicious activity. So now we're going to look up where we can list all of the domains that were requested. Now we're going to look up the domains that have been requested. So having access to tools like this can really save you time when it comes to analysing security logs, keeping an eye on how your servers are running, and keeping your infrastructure running smoothly. This is just a small demo, but you could easily expand this to be a full production system as an additional tool in your arsenal to keeping your network running smoothly. Some of the other things it can do is it can help you in managing your network. So it's a valuable assistant that can help you every step of the way. If you need to calculate IP address ranges, it's there. Give it the correct information, subnet, it will calculate it for you, nice and quick and easy. Cutting down on errors and helping you manage your network effectively. So now let's test it with those IP address ranges. So here you can see we can also use it for calculating subnets and checking available IP addresses based on what it's got in those log files. If you had RAG, then you could also list all of the different things on your network in the vector database. So then that way it had some clear documentation to assist it with this task. So as a network engineer and a security specialist, you could really save a lot of time with analysing the logs and highlighting any vulnerabilities while being able to configure the network in a more effective way. So here you can see there's the output, that it's output from that query. And it's using the data in its logs to be able to help it create the list of IP addresses that are available. So there we go. It's now giving statistics about the subnet and what IP addresses it can see are being used and what they're used for. On this example, it's only got access to the logs, so it's basing the available IP addresses on the lack of traffic in the logs. In production, you would have a list of used IP addresses and you keep that up to date in the database, and then that way it could check against that list and you could have records of everything in there and what they're for. So to explain more about this workflow, what you've got here is, because in OpenWebUI, what it'll do is it'll come up with a title for the chat, and the chat will, just like if you're using ChatGPT, when you have a chat with ChatGPT, it'll then come up with a title for that chat, and then it'll put it on the side here. The same is in OpenWebUI. So what this workflow does is you've got this little part here that then comes up with that chat name based on what you've been speaking about, and then this is the main agent that is dealing with all of the requests to the MCP server and running the show. If you want to know more details about how to set up the MCP server from scratch, then you can check out my tutorial video that covers setting up the native MCP server in n8n. And the only real difference between this workflow and the other one is the different database that I'm using. And that's very easy to set up in Baserow. For more information on connecting your n8n workflow to OpenWebUI, you can check out Cole Medin's video and his GitHub. I've also forked it onto my own GitHub, so if you want to check that out, you're more than welcome to. If you'd like to purchase the workflow, you can check out the link below. If you'd like to donate to the channel, then there's links in the description. And if you'd like me to work with you, then you can contact me through the company in the description, and we can consult you on how we can automate parts of your business and implement AI into your systems to save you time and make your business more efficient. Let's keep automating.